What is up, YouTube, and welcome to Behind the Wall, presented by Perky Jerky. I'm Thermite917, along with my two friends, Middleburg1 and Kane Jr. 88. This week, the Cup Series and Truck Series were in Michigan, and Xfinity was in Mid-Ohio. We'll discuss some of everything, as well as talk about a couple topics. Then we are going to hand out some awards, which we always love to do. Then it's on to the paint schemes and fantasy. So, Tyler, what happened in Michigan?
Well, Michigan started out as just your typical Michigan Boar Fest, that's for sure. Not a whole lot happened in Stage 1. Brad Keselowski just was absolutely waxing the field, even through to Stage 2, even though he only was the winner of Stage 1, and Martin Truex Jr. came home with the Stage 2 win. You know, there was some strategy, certainly some close calls here and there. The race really kind of got a little bit of life thrown into it when Casey Kane decided to not clear Daniel Suarez and cause a huge wreck right there. We'll talk more about that later. And yeah, strategy certainly became an element in the last stage. A lot of guys had either pit or they were trying to ride the cycle out or just hope for a yellow. And when a yellow came for a late race caution with Joey Logano losing a tire, it certainly shuffled things up and put a bunch of guys that were running kind of mid-pack for most of the day. They put them kind of in a little bit in the mix, but Martin Truex Jr. still had it looked like he was going to win, but another late yellow forced a technical overtime, the first time since the change to the start-finish line. So basically back to the green light shift. Yeah, fucking overtime line. Fuck you, overtime line. You're non-existent. So, but that didn't really have to get used, as there was only one attempt, and Kyle Larson smoked the field on the last restart and snookered Martin Truex Jr. to capture his third win in a row at Michigan, including his fourth in a row on a track of 2 miles, and his third overall win of the season. So, race ratings. What did you guys think? Nick, give it a race rating.
I'm going to go with 5.5. It was a lot better than the first Michigan race back in June. I forgot what I gave that race, but there was a fair amount of action. There were guys getting loose pretty much throughout the race. It's better than nothing. So, Kane?
I have to agree. I'm going to give the race a 6. There was definitely more of an entertainment factor this weekend at Michigan, especially the finish to the Cup race. I mean, I'm sorry, if you don't have balls the size of Kyle Larson's, you would not have been able to pull that move. Yeah, so definitely a 6 from me.
I'll give the race a 5.5, just like what Nick said. I don't think it was an exceptional race by any means, but I do believe there was enough action throughout the pack at times, and especially with the late race, with things kind of getting shuffled, the strategy was going to get really interesting. And it still did play out really well. And then obviously Kyle Larson with the badass maneuver on the last restart was fun to watch. So kind of your typical Michigan race in a way, but it wasn't a complete deadbeat Boar Fest. So 5.5 for me. All right, now we're going to move on to some discussion topics. And Kane, I'll let you lead the way. What is our first topic?
All right, our first topic was perhaps the most talked about topic on NASCAR social media this week, and that is Kevin Harvick's quotes on his SiriusXM radio show, Happy Hours, this past Tuesday. He said that Dale Jr. struggling throughout his entire career is the reason that NASCAR hasn't been growing lately. In fact, I'll read the quote right here. Earnhardt hasn't been anywhere close to being our most successful driver. When you look at other sports, you look at basketball and you look at football and you look at their most popular athletes, they're also right on the top of the list as their most successful athletes. So for me, I believe that Dale Jr. has had a big part in the growth of NASCAR because he's got these legions of fans and this huge outreach of being able to reach these places that none of us have the possibility to reach. But he's won 9 races in 10 years at Hendrick Motorsports and hasn't been able to reach outside of that. So I know that those aren't the most popular comments, but those are real life facts that you look up and see on the stat sheet. Now, obviously, as one would expect, it caused a major uproar among Junior Nation. They got their collective panties in a bunch over straight facts. Because while I want to be upset at Kevin Harvick for what he said, he actually does have a point, which unfortunately pretty much all of Junior Nation fails to understand. Would I say that's a stat that him struggling has stunted the growth of NASCAR? No. Look, Dale Jr. struggling is not the reason why NASCAR's growth is being stunted. It's the stupid rule changes that we have to go through every fucking year, whether it's the overtime line, which thank God it's gone now, or the stages, or the chase grid, what have you. The average NASCAR fan just cannot keep up with all these changes, and therefore they're being turned off by it. Now, I don't know what more I can say about it, but Harvick has a point, but, you know, it's not all Junior's fault. And I'm sure Tyler can agree with me on that.
Well, I can agree with you, sure. I understand that he has a point to it. I think, just to kind of go around that slightly, I believe that Dale Jr. he's had awful luck throughout his entire career. It's not just that he has struggled on his own personal driving level. The guy is notorious for having awful luck. So it's an absolute shame that things have turned out the way it did for him, because I believe that he's much better than what the stat sheet does show. However, to go to the specific topic of whether or not he's holding back NASCAR or whatever it is, first of all, I just thought the whole argument, or even bringing it up, was just kind of ridiculous. He brings a lot of people to the sport. That's supposed to be a good thing. I think you hit the nail on the head, though. Fans, every single fan, no matter of every driver, they're all annoyed. We have our specific annoyments with NASCAR, the decisions they keep trying to make, and now with Monster coming in and trying to, put more life into the sport, I guess, and make it more accessible for youth. And we've talked about that earlier in the year. It's just, they're just trying to put a bunch of crap in here. And I think when people say this particular phrase, "Oh, I wish racing was like it was back in the 80s." Well, I think what they truly mean by that is that they want the simplicity back from the 80s. Because it was a much simpler time. You just went out there and you raced. There wasn't as much politics as there is today, and as much bullshit that NASCAR always tries to throw around. And, we got stupid phrase. We have a phrase called encumbered. Encumbered. Why is that even? I don't even know that was a fucking word.
It's a kind of vegetable, right?
Yeah, I know, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I immediately thought of cucumbers. I'm like, am I having a salad today or something? No. But we have just this stupid terminology. They keep changing the goddamn cars. They fucked them up to begin with. It's been a long road back. People are pissed off about it. The sport is getting more and more costly. It's hurting teams. It's also hurting fans. The merchandise keeps going up too. We want to support our favorite drivers. I mean, this is a much bigger topic than what the one simple thing that Harvick said. This is such a much bigger issue, and it doesn't really pertain necessarily just to Dale Earnhardt Jr. as an individual. So
yeah. Exactly. Because, like, all those things you said, that's what's hurting NASCAR. I mean, if anything, Dale Jr. being that popular is helping NASCAR. It's going to hurt when he leaves, And I think it would also hurt if Junior Nation actually cared about his stats. Then they'd be long gone. But they don't care how successful he actually is. They're just loyal fans, and that's great for the sport. So, I don't know. I think we're definitely going to miss him when he leaves. And I do think that's going to leave a big void, because a lot of fans are going to be lost, on top of all the rule changes and crap like you've said. So Yeah, Harvick has a point with the stats, but that's not really what matters in this situation. There's a lot of other things going on.
Absolutely. And I think that was lost, I guess, in Harvick's mind when he made those comments. I mean, again, he does have the point. We get it, but it's much more. So much more.
Yeah.
And I think it was just to end this topic. It just there was just too much of a big deal made out of this, and not enough of what actually matters and the real bigger issues at hand. And it's just disappointing. I wish more people were smart enough to realize this.
Yeah.
I do too. I mean, being a member of Junior Nation, well, look, we get Junior struggling this year, and Harvick, further reminding us of that fact, it hurts, obviously, but at the same time, obviously, like you said, we're all going to be lost next year when Dale leaves, and
I won't.
obviously people, yeah, well, I probably will be just a Hendrick Motorsports fan next year, but again, I mean, yeah, a big deal. This whole thing was just blown way out of proportion by, Junior Nation. I mean, who obviously don't give a crap how Dale does on the track every week. So,
well, it was blown out of proportion
just,
by them, and it was also blown out of proportion by the media and just everybody in
right.
general. I just think it was just so stupid. Like, just shut up, okay? Shut up.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
just let it go, people. God.
Next
Thank
topic.
you. Let's move on, please.
We are moving on. And the next topic at hand is big news this weekend regarding the 5 car for Hendrick Motorsports. Casey Kane, first of all, was dropped from the ride. He's going to be released 1 year early from his contract. But they also named the replacement right away, and that is William Byron. So the real question at hand is William Byron being rushed into this ride?
Maybe to some degree. But yeah, I mean, usually you want some experience in Xfinity or trucks for a while, at least 2 years before you move up, because Cup is a big step. But I think in William Byron's case, he's just had so much natural talent, and he's proved he can be one of the top drivers no matter what he's driving in. So I think, he may struggle a little bit at first, kind of maybe like how Daniel Suarez is right now, but I think he's going to pick it up really quick and be a really good fit for that 5, because really, who else were you going to replace Casey Kane with? I mean, he was really just at the top of the list.
Right. And I definitely want to jump in about that. With William Byron, I really did think they were going to do the same thing they did with Chase Elliott, and that is give him 2 years in Xfinity. I think that was the right approach to take with Chase. I felt like they were going to do the same with William, but they're not going to. And the reason I don't really have an issue about this, I've had a couple of days to sit on it, and let's be real here. Casey Kane was going to do another year, and whatever. He's going to run 21st in points or something. And even if William Byron struggles in his first year, he's still going to be gaining the seat time that Casey already has. If he does equivalent of what Casey would have done next year, then what did they lose? They didn't lose anything. They gained because William has now seat time, and he'll have 36 races under his belt. Whereas Casey Kane, they knew he wouldn't be going on beyond next year anyways with the team. So it was just an early option. Get him out of the car, throw William in there, get him some seat time, and it'll be good for him, regardless of how he performs. I think that the entire 5 team as a whole still needs a lot of improvement. That and the 88 team to go along with it. Him and Alex Bowman are going to have quite a year next year if they can't exactly get it together internally to bring cars at a racetrack that are actually worth a shit. I think that is a huge problem right now. That's their problem more than driver related. But getting specifically to drivers, Casey Kane, I do believe firmly is the 4th driver currently right now. He's the 4th driver. And he has been for several years. That's the problem. He hasn't really been able to be consistent since 2013. He has managed to win 2 times since then in mainly lucky situations, but other than that, he really has not performed, and the entire team has not performed either. So they need a whole overhaul. But Byron, yeah, I think it'll be good.
And didn't they say Hendrick is still going to pay Casey Kane next year?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
And
then
he's
where
going to
do you
help him
think
find another
Casey's...
ride.
Yeah, exactly. Where do you think Casey's going to end up then?
GMS.
Well, Hendrick did say he was going to find a ride with an affiliated team. So yeah, I can see GMS being the destination if they decide to go to start up a cup program.
Yeah, but yeah, good old GMS coming up way too soon. Byron's going to be okay, but GMS, yeah, they're coming up too soon to the Cup Series. But yeah, I could definitely see Casey going there. Maybe if they bring the '96 car or something, he'll be teammates with Spencer Gallagher. Oh boy.
I hope not. They better not
Yeah.
put that stupid ass in a Cup car. There's your new Brian Scott right there. Okay, that son bitch is gonna be a fucking caution cone every week.
Yes.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Mm-mm.
They should have just stayed in truck. Spencer might have a win.
He would. He's just one of those guys, man. We're not even getting off that topic, but seriously, he's not a damn Xfinity driver, and he sure as hell isn't going to be a Cup driver. But Casey Kane, I think, would be a solid fit for that team if that's what they decide to choose, because they're going to be bottom of the barrel anyways.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Moving on. Now, the trucks race this weekend in Michigan, and you know damn well what that means. Where did Cody Coughlin finish? And big old dumbass finished in 21st after getting wrecked in spectacular fashion on a late race restart. Actually, the next to last restart of the race. And, wow, hell of a hit. But on a brief, serious note, we are happy that Meatball Sub is able to walk away. So we're really pleased that he'll continue to fight another day, battling for them top 15s in Truck Series. So let's hear what he had to say about his race. I got tagged from behind on that restart and got turned into the inside wall. Thankfully, that was a safer barrier, and thankfully my guys at Thor Sport Racing build safe tundras for me to race. It was an unfortunate way to end this day. We'll go to Bristol and hopefully run well there. Oh, I'm sure you will, Cody. You started 15th in this race. I'm assuming you're going to qualify similar there and finish similar at Bristol too. So, we're good luck with that. All right, just stop. Just stop. You wrecked this weekend. You got more trucks to wreck, man, and Bristol's the perfect place to do it. So go do it, Jags!
Jags! Jags!
Jags! Here comes the Jags! Jags!
Jags! Ready or not, here comes the boys for the sound. Jags!
Jags!
Ready or not, how you like me now? Here comes the Jags!
Ready or not.
Oh, Meatball Sub hit the wall and got marinara sauce all over the track!
No!
Oh, Pillsbury Doughboy! Oh my god, dude, he's the Pillsbury fucking Doughboy.
No! Don't!
Cody Pillsbury.
Wow.
Cody Doe.
Oh, man.
That was funny.
Alright, now it's time to hand out some awards for the Michigan and Mid-Ohio race weekend. So leading off with the classic boner of the week. Who gets the boner?
This week's boner of the week goes to NBCSN for their absolutely shitty coverage of the Xfinity race. I can't tell you how many missed spins and wrecks that they didn't catch. How Matt Bell, whatever his name is, when he crashed into the tire barrier, NBCSN didn't even show us a replay of that wreck. Why? Because they fucking couldn't keep up. Also, Casey Mears spun on one of the straightaways, and they didn't even acknowledge that he spun until he blew his engine later on. So many missed opportunities for this weekend's coverage. I get they're on like a skeleton crew because their main crew was obviously in Michigan for the Cup race, but still, NBC, you could have done way better than that. Come on, man.
They also missed where William Byron got spun by Ryan Reed when the caution came out.
Oh yeah, that too.
They missed that.
Then they lost Allgaier altogether.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That was ridiculous. Like, we're sitting here going, like, what the hell happened? And then, nope, nothing.
It's not like he's in a bright colored car or anything.
No.
Next award is all clear, and that goes to Casey Kane for getting in a wreck with Daniel Suarez. It was a bizarre one. Casey Kane was just passing Daniel Suarez into turn 2. Then he just kind of came up like everything was okay. I don't know if his spotter cleared him or if he cleared himself. And Suarez was also coming down a little bit, and they just got into each other, and Kane slammed the outside wall, and Suarez piled in right behind him. It was a really hard crash, and then Suarez proceeded to slam the inside wall twice pretty hard as well. So glad they're okay, but that was kind of a weird one. Yeah, next award.
Next award is Pulling of the Money. And this award obviously pays homage to our fallen painter and brother, who we will forever miss, Damani HD. He used to actually run the Brad Keselowski car in our league races. So that is why this award goes to Brad Keselowski specifically. Because Damani used to like to do this thing where he won the pole, led the most laps, and then the race would get kind of weird at the end, and he ended up finishing like 7th. Well, in this case, Brad finished 17th. Like, what the hell happened? Like, he was on rails for the first half of that race. He actually led over 100 laps of the thing, but where the hell was he at the end? I guess strategy just kind of screwed him, and he had a pretty poor finish considering he looked like he was going to be unstoppable. Next award.
Next award is I Want to Play Too, and that picks up kind of from the Casey Kane and Suarez wreck. This one included Michael McDowell and Paul Menard. This was one of the last cautions of the race. Paul Menard just got loose under the 95 and spun out good old Michael McDowell, Mick Driver. Luckily, he didn't really sustain any damage, maybe some slight contact with Menard because of the smoke. But that sucks for the 95 guys because he's been one of the most consistent cars in terms of laps completed. Sucks for them, but they'll move on. Next award.
The next award is, well, we're looking, oh, horse shit!
10:30.
Ah, horse shit!
And that goes to Matt Kenseth. Man, this has been the story of his year, really. He has had awful, rotten luck. And he was primed for another solid finish. Now, granted, solid finishes aren't exactly what he needs right now. He needs a win to try to get himself locked and secured into the chase. But regardless, he was still going to get a solid result, looking like a top 10 at the worst. And man, he got kebabbed on that last restart. I believe a tire went down, got into the wall, ended up finishing way, way back there in the 20s. And then, yeah, went to shit. Poor Matt Kenseth. Next award.
All right, our next award is the Straight Jacket Award. And this week, it does not go to NASCAR like it usually does. No, it goes to Brennan Poole. Oh my God, what a fucking moron that guy is this weekend. I mean, first of all, he wrecked Elliott Sadler at the end of stage 1. Sadler was leading the race, Poole was running second, and what does he do? Spins him out. Now, granted, Elliott might have come down a little bit, but I think Poole stuck his nose in there a little bit too deep when he shouldn't have, and he spun out Elliott. And that's not the only one he spun out. I believe, I forget who else he wrecked this weekend. Blake Cook, he spun him out and pretty much ended his day. I mean, Cook did come back to finish 11th, I believe, but he effectively ended his chances of winning the race. So, I mean, I don't know how the hell Poole came back to finish. Let's see here.
8th.
Oh, yeah, he finished 8th. How the hell did he finish 8th after pissing off so many guys? I'll never know. But, Brennan Poole, you must be freaking crazy.
Go.
All right, our next award.
Our next awards are a set of cigars, and the first one goes to Bubba Wallace, who won the Truck Series race at Michigan. It was his first start in that series since the end of the 2014 season when he won at Homestead. So I guess he won back-to-back races technically. But yeah, he was in a 99 truck for, I don't even remember what team that is. I always forget.
MDM Motorsports.
Thank you.
Yep.
But yeah, we didn't really think he was going to be that good. We thought he might be a little rusty or something, but he was in right place at the right time. And man, did he make some great moves at the end, specifically the 19 of Austin Cindric and the 4 of Christopher Bell going into turn 3 wide. He just went for it, man. You talk about Kyle Larson's move. Bubba's was just as good. and he held everyone off for a few more laps and pulled off the W. So good job, Bubba.
Yeah, sponsors, take notes, man. This kid needs a ride next year.
Yeah,
Fucking
Bubba was
A.
driving like a maestro that day. However maestros drive, I don't even know. Sponsor plug. Next cigar.
The next cigar, this cigar just goes to the Truck Series racing in general, and the third and final stage of that race. It goes to the damn trucks, the racetrack, the series, the drivers, everything. Oh my lord. That was an excellent stage. It really was. You could throw a blanket over like 7 guys at one point. I mean, they were not getting away from each other. So many close calls. You can make passes. Obviously, the bonsai move from Bubba Wallace to get the win. Just great driving. Everything was just, it was so exciting to watch. So everybody involved gets a cigar right there. I mean, that includes Christopher Bell, Austin Cindric, not fucking Kyle Busch, fuck him, Ryan
Yeah.
Truex, all those guys. Just great job. Next cigar.
All right, and then our next cigar goes to all the underdog Xfinity drivers who finished in the top 10 of Saturday's race. And let's begin, of course, with race winner Sam Hornish Jr. after he got 2 earlier opportunities this season driving the Team Penske 22 car at Iowa, and unfortunately he wrecked out both times. But Saturday at Mid-Ohio, he finally redeemed himself. He started on the pole, dominated the race, led the most laps, and came away with the victory. So, Sam, you get a cigar. James Davison, yes, the same James Davison that subbed for Sebastian Bourdais in the Indy 500 this year. He made his second ever NASCAR start driving the Joe Gibbs Racing number 20 car. He came home with a 4th place finish, so cigar award to him. Andy fucking Lally. Yes, that Andy Lally. He was driving the Shitbox 07 car, normally driven by Ray Black Jr. He drove it to a top 5. He finished 5th. I don't know how you can do that, but damn, that's awesome. Cigar award to him. Brandon Gaughan, now, he finished 7th, which really is not that impressive, but he made a badass save late in the race when Sam Hornish ran him off the track in the first turn. I don't know how he held on to that thing. That thing was getting some big air, as the spotter on NASCAR Rumble so famously said. And he still came away with a top 10 finish. Amazing. And hell, let's give one to Dakota Armstrong. He finished 10th. He normally doesn't finish in the top 10. So, cigar award to Dakota Armstrong. Cigar award for all those guys. Way to go. Next cigar.
And the final cigar goes to Kyle Larson. I'm not going to say too much about him because we already talked about him, but he made a badass move on the last restart going into turn 1. Pretty much made it like 3 or 4 wide on Truex and Kansas and whoever else was up there. And just got ahead of them and pulled away, got his 3rd Michigan win in a row and his 4th win ever in the Cup Series, all at 2-mile tracks. So, I mean, just wait till this guy starts winning at other tracks. He's going to be really hard to beat. All right, and it's time for that last award. It's the Crying Towel. Tyler, take it away.
Oh, the crying towel. One of my favorite things to do because it allows me to exert some rage as well as some tears. And Kyle Busch, every goddamn week, what's with you, Rowdy? Rowdy. What did he do this week? Oh, that's right. He had some choice comments to make after Brad Keselowski said, hey, the Toyotas might be sandbagging, and he had kind of a point, because NASCAR was going, through some extensive tagging this week. And dickheads, they probably went, oh my god, they're gonna find something, let's dial down our cars. That's probably what they did. So, Brad made a comment about it. And Kyle, typical Kyle, didn't like it, so here's what he had to say. Brad's a fucking moron. We don't just turn it down. We actually have a new engine package here this week. He's a moron. Well, Kyle, first of all, you've used moron 2 times in a small paragraph there, so bad English on you. Second of all, quit your fucking Quit your crying, you big crybaby! Jesus Christ! The man's allowed to have an opinion, and Brad's very outspoken, goddammit. We know you don't like him, and you've got a little rivalry with Brad, and you've had it for years. You had it in the Nationwide Series. He probably took a couple of precious wins away from you, you fucking big, whiny, salty Snickers, sour Skittles, son of a bitch! Oh, God, I hate you so much! Shut up! Get some fucking Kleenex, go home to your fake tit wife and your ugly son, and shut the fuck up!
Wow.
That was awesome.
That's all I got to say.
That's all you can say.
That really is. That sums it up. I don't fucking like him.
I don't know why I ever tell you to jump on the rainforest. God, I'm a dumbass.
Alright, and now we have a brand new award to introduce. Might be a weekly thing, might not be. Decides what we feel like. So, here are the best tweets of the week.
Chevy and Sprint.
Brennan Poole. What a fucking moron. Those goddamn Toyotas.
We have a couple good paint schemes this week. They were from Xfinity. Check them out. And we also have a couple dishonorable mentions for paint schemes this week. They weren't necessarily horrible, but they're worth talking about. So, Tyler, what's the first one?
Well, a dishonorable mention, just in general, is for the Ryan Blaney regular Motorcraft paint scheme. But they decided to slap SKF on the side. SKF!
Skiff! Skiff!
I had to look this company up. They've been sponsoring NASCAR for quite a while, specifically the Penske team. But, like, Jesus, I can't stand that. They went the damn Hendrick Motorsports Axe Alta route with slapping sponsors on the side of cars for no damn reason. Facts!
Facts!
God damn it! I do not like that. Don't do it. If you want to put SKF on the car, put the SKF paint scheme with the baby powder blue. I love that car. Seriously,
Yeah.
do that instead. It'll look great with the 21. But now our most disappointing paint scheme of the week has to do with the Jimmy Johnson and the Jimmy Johnson Foundation car. I like the colors. I like the yellow. I like the blue. I like everything about it except for the design, because the design is kind of wimpy. Man, there were just so much better looking Jimmy Johnson Foundation paint schemes over the years. Last year is a great example, and including several others, as you see there. What really went wrong here? It's just too plain and not as inspiring. I don't know. Again, it's not terrible, and it's not. That's why we're not calling it the worst paint scheme of the week. It's just disappointing. I'm not mad at you. I'm just disappointed.
And there you have it.
I'm not upset that you crashed in practice and you finished 20th. Alright, now it's time for fantasy, and quickly the fantasy recap from Michigan. Nick comes home with the fantasy victory after choosing Martin Truex Jr., who came home actually in second place, but because he had more points than the race winner Kyle Larson, who I chose, he gets the victory over me. So, sucks a suck there, because I would have certainly liked the victory, considering I picked the race-winning driver, but it's whatever. We'll have to settle for second. Moving on to third. And it was a very close battle between Kane and Damani, but Damani just nips him by one precious point. He picked Jimmy Johnson, who finished 19th, very lackluster race. And Kane picked Matt Kenseth, who we already mentioned in the awards, had a good day gone bad. So he finished 24th, and he was only able to get Kane 17 points for the weekend. So we had a little bit of a points shake-up. We'll just briefly mention as Nick has now vaulted back to the lead, has a 7-point advantage over me. Kane is 32 back, and Damani is in Mars. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the Bristol race selections. So, Kane, who is your pick for Bristol?
My pick for Bristol, he had a very strong car back there in April. It ran the bottom very well on the VHT, and I think that's exactly what they're going to do this weekend. I'm going with Martin Truex Jr.
Alrighty, fair enough. Damani, who's your pick?
Get there faster!
24!
And I will choose the winner from last year's race. That was Kevin Harvick, and he kind of turning on a little bit here lately. He's got some speed and some consistency. I think that they'll be pretty good here, and I think he can get me some solid stage points. So, Kevin Harvick. Nick, who's your pick?
Okay, I'm going to go with the driver who's been really hot along with Martin Truex Jr. He just won. That's Kyle Larson. I know the VHT could play a factor because he loves to run that high line there, but I think either way, he's going to try it, and he's going to make it work. And even if they don't, he's got a ton of speed everywhere they go. He loves Bristol. Kyle Larson's going to get the W.
Well, that wraps up yet again another episode of Behind the Wall, presented by Perky Jerky. We hope you enjoyed not listening, because we know you didn't. I mean, for Christ's sake, we get like 18 views a video. So, but if you happen to click on it and you made it here this far, we appreciate you. So, for Damani HT, again, we don't know where he is. We're considering putting him on a milk carton. Junior 88, he was back to his interrupting form today. For Thermite 917, he's a closet Dale Jr. fan, and he won't admit it. And for myself, Junior Nation 5788. But this has been Behind the Wall. You've been Behind the Wall. Grab yourself a bag of Perky Jerky, and thank you for listening. Jax!
Jags! Ready or not, here comes the boys for the sound.
Jags!
Here comes the
Jax!
ready or not. How you like me now?
This week, the Cup Series was in Michigan, and Xfinity was in... Hold on, damn it. I forgot trucks. I forgot what I gave the first one, but this one was quite a bit better, I think, than the race back in June. I think it was June. But there was a lot of action, I think. At least, I'm going all over the place. I missed last week. I'm out of the flow.
You suck ass. We're
Wow.
calling Damani, I'm telling you right now. If Damani was available, we'd replace you.
I mean, usually, you know, with Chase Elliott and I forgot who else, maybe Chris Buescher or something, or Stenhouse.
Joey Logano in 2009.
Shut up.
He was a...
I'm just saying, I'm just giving examples here.
Well, 2 were enough, or 3. No one really, or the race didn't really get quite as boring as probably Tyler is going for, but it did get boring, and I'm still rambling. God dang it!
Yeah, you're fucking born a rambling man. Should have been a part of the Allman Brothers band.
Yeah. Good
Which
old
they
GMS
couldn't
biting
very
off
well
more
do.
they can chew. Shut up!
God damn it! Led the most laps, over 100 to be exact, and just
That's not exact.
okay. Now I'm fucking
It was
gone.
about 100 to be exact.
Fuck was that?
I don't know.
Of the year, like in terms of laps led. So not laps led. Oh my god.
Dumbass.
Laps completed.
In
Laps
terms of laps
completed.
completed. Shut up. I got this.
Nick, you got the first one, so introduce it.
Well, you still introduce it. All right.
Oh, fucking Christ.
No, I'll do it.
You're damn right you're gonna do it!
Fucking Nick Lemacki!
By the way, I'm so happy you did the NASCAR Rumble voice. That was amazing. You nailed it. Tyler, you
Yeah.
can do it. Shut up.
Fuck
Way to
yeah.
ruin it.
Like a rabbit on a dog track!
Like a rabbit on a dog track.
All right, the final cigar goes to Kyle Larson. I don't want to say too much more about him because we already mentioned him, but and it's gone. We have a couple good... I said couple kind of weird. Hold on. Okay.
Not much to say about him, other than he's probably going to win a stage and perhaps maybe the race.
That wraps up yet again another episode of Behind the Wall, presented by Perky Jerky. That's right. Go grab a bag today. It might be a little overpriced, but go grab a bag. It'll be worth it. It's like sex in your mouth.
Holy cow!
Holy cow! It is. I'm not lying. So, for the money,
You know
HG,
you've tried.
I've had both, so I'm familiar with the process.
I can do both.
I can do both. I can do both. I can eat both. Holy cow!
Holy cow!
Oh, I keep coming with the zingers. That's great. For Thermite 916.
I hear the heavy breathing now. You made him mad.
I'm just throwing jabs. I don't actually mean you were interrupting a lot.
But he was.
Sex in your mouth.
Yeah. What?
Perky Jerky,
my God.
won't you love me sexy? Won't you love me, Perky? Jerky.
We gotta stop.
We have to stop. I mean, because if not, we're just gonna go on a rampage and yeah.